Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the PropLink AI podcast, where we talk to founders, operators, and innovators shaping the future of real estate. Today, I'm joined by Chris Bockish, the founder of Property in a Box, a platform that's been quietly powering hundreds of property businesses across Australia, with everything from off-market inventory and white-labelled websites to integrations and high-powered AI marketing assets. Chris brings over 2 decades of experience in property, and what he's built is part tech stack, part toolkit, part training ground, all wrapped into a subscription model that's helping agents and brokers close more deals with less chaos. Chris, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Stuart. Yeah, it's good to be here, mate.
Now, Chris, you've been in the business for over 2 decades and Property in the Box for almost as long. Can you just tell us a bit about your background? How did it get started?
Property in a Box was started after the GFC. I have another business as a finance sub-aggregation model under what was Plan Australia. In that business, we had something like 120 mortgage brokers. We're writing about $70 million a month in home loans. GFC hit and it affected a lot of people. And so what we were thinking is how can we turn this frown upside down, so to speak. Have a bit of an entrepreneurial streak in me. So I thought, well, there's got to be an opportunity in here somewhere. A lot of our finance brokers were really struggling. Commissions had reduced. A whole lot of things had happened. Not as many deals were being done. And so what we did is we decided to create a property aggregation model. In fact, we coined that term, property aggregator, and target specifically the finance mortgage brokers themselves, specifically those that were in our network, to try and help them generate an additional income stream whilst adding value to their clients. And so that's when Property in Box, the whole property aggregator model, was birthed out of the fact that we already had a finance aggregation model, and we just thought, well, why don't we just create a property version of that?
What was the early tech stack like? And what were the key problems that you set out to achieve with that?
How long have you got? When we created the Property in a Box Fusion software, the first variation was, I actually thought everybody did this. Like, oh, everyone creates software. How hard can it be? And so we partnered up with somebody that was a bit of an IT guru, your typical sort of IT nerd. And we worked with him. He worked with us for a while. We actually had him live at our house for a while to just be head down, bum up, building the software. So it was written in PHP, early code version 2, 3, something like that. And within that software, we built a whole lot of stuff. We built an emailer as well, a newsletter creator, CRM of sorts, and a property listing portal was probably the main function of that. But it was still a combination of marketing and CRM. But I think some of the mistakes that we made in that was thinking, why would we go and use an API offered by companies like MailChimp when we could just create our own emailer system? So the lessons I've learned there is have been use an API where you can, because creating a newsletter sender, creating an emailer like MailChimp is just fraught with all sorts of challenges and issues. So we thought really big. We created something really big. It ended up having lots of issues. And so we learned a lot of lessons now. So as a result of that, we're on to our Fusion version 3 currently. We're now building Fusion version 4. And we have evolved significantly through all of that learning and all the mistakes that you make. You know that saying, fall forward when you make a mistake. Well, we've made lots of mistakes in the past. We still make mistakes today, but again, we're always falling forward, learning from them, and then implementing new systems and processes to deal with it.
Yeah, I use the term with my staff and team of fail fast. So learn and fail fast. With Evolutions, like you started sort of focusing on the mortgage broker or the finance sort of customer base, but how has that customer base evolved, and how do you define like your members today?
Yeah, it was interesting because ideally Property in a Box was developed as an addition or a diversification model for finance brokers, and so we focused on that demographic, that vertical. And the thing with finance brokers is they need another excuse to contact their clients anyway, so it sort of worked in well with them. And finance brokers are sort of like general practitioners of your finance. So they know when you took that loan, what you bought, and what the potential equity growth is if they sold your property a mortgage 5 or 10 years ago that you had bought a property with. They'll kind of get an idea or guesstimation of how much capital growth would have had in that time. So they're actually a pretty good referral partner to be working with. But we diversified from just focusing on finance brokers to then accountants and financial planners. And funnily enough, the last demographic that we targeted was real estate agents, which you would have thought would have been the first demographic because they're in the business of making money, but also selling property, and property is a big part of it. But when you're selling investment properties, it's not about the property. It's more about what problem they're trying to solve. Do they want to pay less tax, pay a mortgage off quicker, retire comfortably? And finance brokers sort of had that understanding with their clients in terms of where they were from a financial perspective, and could use property to help solve those problems. But started off with finance brokers, and then accountants and financial planners and property advisors were in there as well. And then lastly, probably the last few years, we've started focusing more on real estate agents, who are typically, or traditional real estate agents, are typically those that sell established properties to owner-occupiers. So this is a great diversification model for them as well to add value to their clients.
Okay. Can we go sort of dive into sort of like the core platform and the business model? What do you call your subscribers members as such? What do they get when they subscribe to the business or become a member?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I get quite a lot. And look, we do compete in the marketplace with a few other property supply companies, although we've been around for a long time. We've been around for almost 20 years now, and we do offer the largest listing location and variety of new investment grade properties in Australia, and that includes things like house and land, townhouse, apartments, dual lock, dual living, duplex, co-living, rooming homes, SMSF, FIRB, NDIS, you name it. We've got them: red ones, green ones, pink ones, blue ones, big ones, small ones, right across Australia, and we're focusing on high capital growth corridors. So we've got a lot of properties at any given time. We'll have at least 3,000 properties in our portal. So that's one good reason why we get members joining us, because they're more likely to make a sale with us than without us, just because if you understand that people buy new property, they're investors to pay less tax, pay a mortgage off quicker, and retire comfortably. So they're the problems, and the solutions that we have in the form of properties are more solutions than anybody else has in Australia. So we're more likely to solve that problem than anybody else. And so some of the things that our members receive is the software. And there's a lot of features in our software that sort of give a hint to the fact that we offer a lot more than just a lot of properties. We've got flexi products, which are the dual lock, dual living, duplex type products. We've got the coaching that we run at least every month. We've got the sales kit. The sales accelerator kit is really quite interesting. Let me just bring it up over there. And so this is just one of the many things that we provide our members. If you go down here, you've got all these templates, social media templates, all Canva templates. For example, if they wanted to create a brochure with their own brand on it, they could go down here and they'll see all these wonderful brochures or the templates that say that they want to create this one and put their own brand on it. So basically we can click on this and we can just go to brands, color code it, and then apply to all pages, and then I can pop my logo on there and so on. And so those sorts of templated marketing collateral business assets that we have are really quite unique to Property in a Box. We've just created a whole lot of ebooks as well, and these are of course lead magnets. And so there's some ebooks here that are really important when you're running a property transaction business, especially in the new property space. You should always be talking to your clients about the property clock. what 7 o'clock on the property clock is, what a declining market is. So if you want to invest in property and you want to retire sooner rather than later, then you'll always want to be trying to buy property that's 7 o'clock on the property clock. Beyond the Build is a book that talks about the differences between the multi-income properties, dual lock, dual living, duplex, co-living, rooming homes. Here's a book here on the truth about valuations and how they're not indicative of the market rate of the property. And again, you just click on a few buttons here, and within like 30 seconds or so, you've got yourself your own branded, color-coded ebook, and just pop your logo on the top there, your contact details on the bottom, and there's a 20-page ebook that you could use as a lead magnet or just to give your client a bit of information about valuations or whatever it is. So there's landing pages that we provide our members, email templates that we provide our members, infographics, and so on. So that's just another one of the numerous things that we provide our members. Apart from the fact that in addition to getting access to the largest listing of new investment grade properties in Australia and search functions to find them easy, they also get 5 websites. So they'll get websites, and each website has got thousands of properties streamed live onto the websites. The websites will have their own brand, color code, their own contact details. We'll host them for them, but this is all part of our membership. And the reason they get 5 is because it allows them to have 5 different marketing propositions to target different demographics. So, for example, you might start off with sort of a general wealth creation and property investment style website, and then you might want to sort of diversify into another website and have SMSF, property investment specialist, or maybe a first home buyer website, or maybe a website that specializes in NDIS properties or duplexes. So there's 5 different websites that allow you to do that. And then in addition to that, you're able to actually stream via an API properties onto the website that you already have. So a lot of people you can imagine I deal with, they already have websites, but they don't have properties on their websites. So we provide them with the properties that they can stream onto their websites in whatever colors and whatever they want. And this sort of information, 3 across the page, 4 across the page. So that API allows us to deliver a customized property listings for our members. And look, just our subscription alone per month, you wouldn't be able to get someone to list these properties just for that one thing. So there's a lot of stuff that we offer our members. There's a lot more. There's a coaching as well. I do a lot of coaching every day. In fact, I do coaching. But that's probably enough for me giving you my elevator pitch. I've got to try and shorten a little bit, but we do offer a lot of services.
No, I mean, you've definitely got a lot there. And you mentioned, like, from an architecture perspective, you're now up to version 3 of Fusion and you're going into version 4.
Yeah, well, we're still using PHP, but we're updating it regularly. We've got an IT team that are working on it all the time.
Can you, from a builder feeds and stock freshness, how do you get access, or how do you manage all the builders and projects that are coming in? How do you manage so many properties and so many builders as well?
Yeah. How do we manage the stock levels was the question?
Yes, yeah. How do you manage the stock and the builders as well, the feeds?
Yeah, so, well, that's manual at the moment. Unfortunately, we're not at that point in time where we've got contracts with 450 different builders at any given time, where all of those builders have in their software an API that they can give us that will directly feed property back to our software. But maybe on Planet Delusional, they might have that at some point in the future. But right now, when we get back on planet Earth, it's not possible right now. But that being said, we have a team that's been with us for a very long time. My property acquisitions manager's been with us for 10 years. And we have a listings team. And what their job is to, each lister champions a whole bunch of builders and suppliers, and they'll log into their sites on a regular basis, load their stock onto our portal, the one I was just showing you before, and their responsibilities are to list the stock there and then regularly be checking to see what's been held, reserved, sold, and so on, and then update our software platform. And so we get data from our builders in various ways. It might be a Dropbox. It might be just an email with an Excel spreadsheet and a few other attachments, or other good ones. Give us an actual portal that we can log into. In fact, we're creating a portal that we're going to hand out to our builders in Fusion version 4 that will allow them to be able to list their own stock and manage it that way as well. But I'm a bit of a control freak. I kind of think the stock levels that we have, it's really important that we maintain those, and there's credibility in terms of what's in our software is actually still available to the best that we can. And so for us, we really need to be the entity that's paying for the listers, the data entry girls, to be able to take that stock and put it onto our portal, and we've got a lot more control. Some of the other businesses that we deal with, they allow the builders just to do that and rely on that. That's problematic because builders have got so many other things to do, they don't always remember to go and list stock on your portal.
Yeah, I understand. Now, like my last question, I guess, on like the business model side, you've got, you mentioned sort of you've got the membership, so the subscription base, but also you mentioned like you've got a revenue or commission driven. How did you sort of come across that sort of, I guess, combination of subscription plus revenue or subscription plus commission, and how does that shape your growth, or how does that shape your growth strategy?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. One of the things that I really get excited about is just business models, which is, I guess, why I do a lot of coaching. And so when I left my paid job, which was my last job, was at World Vision. So I worked at World Vision Australia, and I played a part in the corporate partnerships team. I was one of the corporate partnerships guys there, and I would develop all sorts of income stream mechanisms, cause-related marketing type models between corporate Australia and World Vision to allow the corporates to be able to sell a product to benefit a cause, and they would benefit off that by profile raising and getting a unique selling proposition to differentiate them from everyone else and all that sort of stuff. But whilst in that role, I learned a lot about recurring revenue models, and I'd get energy companies and telecommunication companies coming and approaching World Vision saying, hey, can we market to your database and we'll give you a percentage of the recurring revenue? And I'm going, a recurring what? So I got schooled pretty quickly in terms of what a recurring revenue was. So I eventually ended up leaving World Vision and starting a number of businesses, a marketing business, a telecommunications business, selling telephone and internet and mobile and energy services, all recurring. Then I got into the finance, and I became one of the home loans that was on the Plan Australia panel of lenders, and then we went from that to becoming a sub-aggregator, which is, in essence, that's another recurring revenue stream. And then the way I built that into Property in a Box was to be able to offer all this value that I've just gone through very quickly. And if you want access to this, it's going to cost you a small setup fee and $330 a month. And we have hundreds of members that are participating in that. So that's income stream number one. Income stream number two is that we get 10% of the total commissions that are paid by the builder to Property in a Box. And so our members on average will be getting between 30 and 40K. So you do the maths on that, it's not too bad as a secondary income as well.
Yep. So jumping through some of the features that you listed, you've sort of like leaning heavily into AI, and you've gone deep into tools like GPT, Manus, N8N when we first talked about it. But what was your first use case, and then how are you using AI today?
Okay. Well, what I might do is I'll go back to the screen share just to show you some of the things that I do with my members with this. So we can see the screen again. So I use ChatGPT. It's a big part of my life. I use it all day, every day. I also use Notebook LM. I use ChatGPT to create all sorts of things like GPTs for Property in a Box, a lyric writer. Well, why would I want a lyric writer? A Zoom backdrop creator. Well, why would I want that? Well, every time I engage with ChatGPT or any AI, I always immediately think, how can this benefit my members? So I created a GPT within ChatGPT that was a Zoom backdrop creator. I just created that backdrop there. I just created this one just before we had this meeting. Like literally, I couldn't find my other one, so I thought I'll just create one very quickly. So I've got that. That's In addition to everything else that I've shown you, and I haven't even spoken about the coaching yet, my members get something like this. They'll get things like a book, right? So here's an example of a book. Now let me just bring it up on my other screen here. Ebooks, and because there we go. So I had a meeting with one of my members just to highlight how I work with my members. And Vickers was telling me that he'd never sold property before, which I thought was, we're off to a good start. But he said, here's my story. I lived in India back in the day, and I lived in a slum, and we had no hot and cold running water, no electricity, and times were pretty tough, as you can imagine. And he then was lucky enough to move to Australia and now has $25 million worth of real estate. And he's about 65, I think. And I thought, well, great. What a great rags to riches story that this guy's got. And this is all playing out in a one-on-one where I'm trying to work out, well, each member's an individual. Each member's got strengths and weaknesses. How do we productize you, Vickers, and your business? And so that's always my thinking. What have you got? How do we productize it, put it in a box with a nice ribbon on it, and make it available to people? And that was basically what we had to work with Vickers. So we created this book, and it's about a 40,000 word book with instructions and all sorts of stuff. So it's a pretty cool little book. And then what we did is we dragged that book into Notebook LM, which is a free software as well. Again, AI, not too sure if you're familiar with Notebook LM. And what it did is it created a podcast to promote Vickers and his book. I'll play maybe just 15 seconds of it, just to give you an idea.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a really good podcast. And you can't tell that these two people that are talking about this ebook, you can't really tell that they're not human, that they're AI. Right? It's just incredible what you can do with that particular software. So there's lots of things that I do, creating strategies and documents and all sorts of stuff using AI. The other thing that we're doing now is creating a jingle. Again, you won't be able to hear it, unfortunately, probably because we don't have this configured correctly. But at the end of the day, I don't know if you've seen the program Suno.com.
I have played around with Suno.
How good is it?
Quite a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's incredible. In fact, I was listening to TikTok the other day, and I heard this amazing singer come on, Enly Blue, Ennly Blue. And I'm thinking, this is amazing. This is some of the best music I've ever heard. And I went, which I don't do very often, I went and bookmarked all of her songs, and I've just got them on my playlist. I got a bit more curious, and I started to YouTube to see if I could find this person. It doesn't exist. It's AI. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, pretty much everything to do with helping members send emails out. Have you cleaned your email database? What email address are you using? Where are you sending it from? Is it warmed up? There's all sorts of things that I deal with that can be involved in the whole business model, from emails to marketing funnels to whatever, because I pretty much work in all of those fields anyway. So I provide a lot of support with my members, and I do a lot of coaching in what we call our workshop in a box model there, and there's lots of testimonials as well. But I do a coaching session on business models, supercharging your referral partners, marketing for impact, selling new property, leveraging AI, probably my favorite one, and then another one on systems and processes. And in fact, there's actually an ebook on each one of those modules. This is one of the books that is sort of an elaboration of just the supercharging your referral partner coaching session, which goes for about an hour. And that book is, I think, 48 pages. Yeah. So there's so much where it's so specific. You drill right down into all the details to how to build a very successful referral partner program. I mean, this is a really important element of a property transaction business that may not have the funds to pay for lead gen, social media, and may not have a database. So by following all of this, you're going to get access to databases and relationships that you would otherwise not get access to. So there's a lot of work that we've put into all of the coaching and elaborating on every coaching session so people fully understand what it is that that we're offering. So I created an ebook and I created a podcast and put it on a landing page. So here I'm inviting people to attend a webinar, but they don't just get a webinar, they get an ebook about multi-income properties and a podcast all about multi-income properties as well. So it's about offering a lot more value than your opposition, which really isn't that hard, to be honest, because the competition's not really that challenging, to be fair.
Okay. Well, I mean, that sort of segues, I guess, into one of the questions that I want to sort of talk about is like, who do you see as your main competitors? And I can definitely see there's some differentiation that you're doing, and you've described a lot of that, but who do you see as your main competitors?
Sorry about that background noise, if you can hear it. Well, I don't want to name names, but the competitors that I have, they don't have a third of the stock that we have. They don't offer contract management services. They certainly don't offer websites. They certainly don't stream properties there. They just offer some property. That's it. And where our model is, we take control of the inventory, the listing, the uploading, and the maintaining of that. So we have control, so we know what we're listing generally there. The opposition, generally, they are charging the builders. So we don't charge the builders, which means that we have more builders that want to deal with us. They charge the builders and get the builders to list the stock. So they're reliant on, 50 other builders hoping to God that they're going to actually keep uploading that stock every day. It doesn't happen. And so our commissions are pretty much the same, but we just offer a lot more value, especially in the coaching services that we provide. I'm very passionate about what I do. My coaching day, so I do on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'll do those coaching modules that I was just showing you very quickly. There's about 6 of them. And then that'd be 9 o'clock in the morning. And then 11 o'clock, I'm doing live demos on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 o'clock. So that's what I kind of do on a Monday and a Wednesday and a Friday. And then after that, I'll be doing all sorts of other extracurricular, just business-related stuff, working with builders, negotiating commissions, working with my members, troubleshooting some issues, perhaps just business-related. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do one-on-one coaching. And my day can start at 5:30 in the morning. I have a 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, and then by that time I'm cactus. So at the end of that, I'll just be working on other elements of the business as well. But like I say to my members, always get me early because I'm a lot sharper in the morning than I am after, say, 2 o'clock. I'm more frazzled out.
You've talked, Fusion version 4, I guess, but what's next over the next 12 to 18 months?
Well, Fusion version 4 is a big project. The reason we're even developing Fusion version 4 is we literally just finished Fusion version 3. We started building it in COVID. And so it's still relatively new, and we're updating it regularly. It's got some AI tools in it as well. But since COVID sort of finished, what's happened is there's been all of this amazing AI tools. And so we want to now embed a whole lot of these different AI tools into our system using agentics, lead generation. So we're working with an agentics engineer in the Philippines. We're mapping out, automating our contract management services. We're automating a whole lot of things within our system where people can go in and create their own agents within our Fusion software. They can create their own GPTs basically, and then share them with other people or just keep them to themselves. And lead generation. So one thing Property in a Box is really good at is the supply of property. But in a property transaction business, there's 2 really important elements. And one is lots of clients to talk to, and the other one is lots of properties to source or to access so you can solve their problem. We've already solved that problem of lots of properties. We already ticked that box. So now anyone that deals with us only have one problem to solve, And that's lots of clients to talk to. And so that's the other element that we're building into Fusion version 4, among other things.
Well, look, Chris, it's been an awesome conversation, and it's not sort of every day that you meet a business owner, a founder that's not only built vertically integrated SaaS platform, but also the efficiency of subscription, and you've also got a really great creative flair for AI content. So it's really great to see what you're offering members and how you're doing that as well. And I sort of appreciate you sharing that with my audience, who are potentially people looking to get into the business or looking to see how they can adapt their business to people that are doing it really well. Now, before we wrap, where's the best place for people to learn more about Property in a Box or to get in touch?
Yeah, well, look, it's pretty simple. Just go to propertyinabox.com.au. Just bring the website up there.
Yep.
So propertyinabox.com.au, you can find out all sorts of information on here. But if you do want to find out more, either give me a ring, email, or just click on that link there. Watch the videos if you want, but book a free live demo. I run those again every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 o'clock. And I'm doing those religiously. Done these for probably 5 years now. So we're constantly doing presentations every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 o'clock. So that's probably the best way to find out more about Property in a Box. But look, if you just want to give me a call, you can do so by ringing the 1300 number. Or I'm happy to leave my mobile number here. It's just 0414 274 357. That'll get you connected directly to me. Happy to have a chat. And then if you like what I show you and what we talk about, then maybe jump in and book in for a live demo.
Fantastic. I'll link some of those things into the show notes. And look, if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow PropLink AI podcast on YouTube and Spotify. We drop new episodes every week with leaders from across the real estate ecosystem, from operators, marketers, and AI builders to brokerage owners. Thanks very much, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one. And thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Stuart. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great.
Awesome.